Scappity boo bow. Hey, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. I hope you've all had a wonderful week, but we are back for episode 82. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I will be your host and game master for tonight. This is episode 82 of Brise's Tale, and as always, my buddy Max is here to play the Paladin Brise. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Hey everybody, it is episode 82. That's mighty impressive.
I think so. We've done a hell of a lot of stuff. A lot of interesting stuff has happened. I don't mind saying, I don't mind bragging on us. So yeah, so last time we had you stumble across a retired priest. Is that what was going on? And you,
Yeah, so there was a couple episodes ago, this retired priest named Gabris, who is interested in the same goal I am, which is undermining the influence of this cult that is growing in Balabry. This cult worshiping the Iron Empress, this mostly evil sort of and religious figure from many millennia ago. We have kind of arranged a rough plan, which is that we know that a leader of some of the brothels in town is planning a raid on the members of the cults during one of their meetings, so he can kind of take control of it and use it more to his aim. So we are going to do the same thing and try to get to it before he does, and use the same kind of guises he's going to do. They were going to dress up his goons in robes of the temples of the goddess Astalon. And so we're like, well, maybe we'll just steal that idea, do it ourselves, and then he won't be able to, we'll save some lives and also hopefully, put an end to the growth of this cult in the town of Balabry. So,
yeah, we're in the Goblin Nation of Nargaz, and so this cult we know has spread into some influential members of society. This county is ruled by Lady Miagral, fairly sharp and serious noblewoman. And we know that even some of her people have fallen into the cult. One particularly that you've dealt with before is Ichar, who is also in his own way not very fun. We don't know much about the cult or its dealings, but Brise is a paladin. It's rare for us to use class nomenclature, if you will, that you're used to in typical role-playing games, because I think no one in the world would use that. Now, paladin's an exception, as is cleric, because those are actually formalized professions that you get trained into. So Brise considers herself a paladin in her own thoughts, and considers this sort of a religious duty to undermine these cults that clearly have no role in present day life and undermining the will of her gods.
right.
So Gabris is a former priest, now retired, former adventurer as well, it would seem, and he's had come up with this plan of let's ambush the ambushers and see what's up. Prior to, so you were going to the town of Dongrel and
Dorgal, yeah.
Dorgal. I always put an N in there, Dorgal. And so we did some shopping off stream in Dorgal, but on your way to Dorgal, you had some interesting encounters. Why don't you tell us
Right.
about that?
The last episode, we ran into a strange. Well, one, there was the lion that almost decimated me. The strange lion with bark, with skin like tree bark, and a tail that ended in leaves. It's kind of an intense battle. I couldn't really hit it, and it didn't. It was a little bit scared of me. But we ended up driving it off with a solid after hitting it a few times, scaring it back off in the wilderness. So that was a cool first encounter. And
It was
then,
a hell of a blow to you too.
yeah, yeah, I think the first hit it had me almost knocked out, um, but it also hurt itself in the process. So, but yeah, then we came across the strange being with a kind of jackal-like metal mask that it wore a whole head, really, made of metal, and trailing behind three goblin children. Definitely very young. Definitely looks like going to be sold as slaves or prisoners or food,
Chains.
something. Yeah, chained up to its very hand. It had like an appendage that was the chain came from, right on where its hand should have been. And so, yeah, we had an interesting encounter. Definitely watch the last episode if you want to see all those details.
Yeah.
We found out that there's a
Oh, no,
whole.
no. That was off stream, remember? We
No,
didn't.
that was on stream.
Was it on stream?
Yeah, we did
I
that
was
last.
just
It was
sorry,
off
forgive
stream.
me.
Off stream.
Off stream was just the shopping after you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
there.
yeah. The
You're
genre,
right.
yeah. No, yeah. We went. We saved all the juicy bits for you guys. So go ahead
That's
and
it.
watch it. Basically, we found out that there's an entire society, world, some form of this slave trade goes on, connected by portals, and these type of beings, deal in these children, provide them to other kind of alien creatures. A lot of mystery, a lot of questions being asked that came up. So definitely something for Brise to explore. We have a location of where the portal, one such portal might be, leading to that world. And yeah, well, maybe in a later episode, go investigate that. Um, but
Yeah,
but yeah, then we did go to Dorgal, do some shopping. You'll hopefully
right.
see some of the cool items we bought in this episode here. Got a new nice spear, some nice bolas, some more potions and scrolls. It'll be a good time.
Right. Right now we stand at 121 potions in the game, and Rollmaster's always been so packed with spells. It's almost burdensome. So scrolls, there's never going to be an end to scrolls. There's, geez, so many.
I
But
think I think off stream we spent half the time just reading through its scrolls the shop had.
right, it's so many. So yeah, so you teleported back to Gabrus's yard. It was early evening. He was, he was just smoking on his porch, and so he just waved you in, and we thought we'd stop there off stream so that some of the planning you could hear what was going on there.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're going to start off. Early evening, sitting in Gabrus's, sort of kitchen living room area in front of the fire. He pulls you up a chair, asks you if you've eaten. I don't recall if you've
No,
eaten.
I have not. Honestly, I mean, I got to town and did the magic shop and the temple. Came right back here, so yeah, I'd tell him I'd appreciate some food.
He goes and gets some salted pork and just chops it up with some veggies, and he throws it in a pot and it sets it on the fire, and he says that'll be ready soon.
Okay.
Pours you some coffee, and
All right.
he
Guess we're not sleeping tonight.
no one sleeps in Karandrin. It's too dangerous.
No, yeah,
Um,
it really is.
so so he says he's had good luck with recruitment. Um, so he got 4 guys out of Dorgal,
Mm.
um, adventurers, young, but he feels capable. They feel capable, and he wanted one more. He scoured the town and really couldn't find anybody that he felt had the metal for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he decided to risk going to the Adventurers Guild in town. And what he did is he simply walked in there and asked who was the newest off the road.
Yeah.
And that way, hopefully, avoided anyone who had been hanging out in the town too long enough to have gone to the brothel or anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Um, and um, and so he got a fifth that way. He's only really uncertain about one of them in terms of like, is he just going to cut and run? You
Yeah.
know, if shit goes down. But the others he feels good about. He says, you know, with the two of us, that brings us to seven.
Right.
You know,
Right.
um, and he asks you if the robes are in process.
Yeah. So I mentioned that I have someone at the keep. You know, I'll just keep working on them. You know, someone trusted. You know that won't. Um, you know, we'll be able to.
Blab. They
Yeah,
won't
won't have
blab.
what we're working on. You know, I haven't told them what they're going to be used for either, so that's good. But you know, I
And this
do.
is and this for our audience. This is robes for the our
Counter
little
raid.
band here, right? For the counter raid
Yeah.
to make them appear to be priests of Astalon who are directly attacking the cult
Right.
or directly attacking these other fake priests
Hmm.
trying to stop Brashula's takeover.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
If you see someone in a robe in Karandrin, they're probably a fake priest. And you can.
that's
Those are the three class, right? The paladin, cleric, and fake priest. That's
that's right. Yeah, there's cleric, paladin, fake paladin,
fake paladin.
fake game master. Unfortunately, just a wannabe. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you know, I asked him, Gabrus, like, well, we have the individuals. If you can give me, you know, their general heights and races, then I can have the my person at the keep make all the robes fit them mostly well.
pulls
So
out a list,
gives me
slaps
all
it on the table.
boom.
He's left, notes like, really broad in the chest and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like this. Um, um, so um,
Hey.
he said that these guys are already really well equipped, so we don't have to worry about weapons or anything. He said I've got a few from back in the day that I can use. I trust that you're settled in that matter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, um, he
Yeah,
says,
he's an old adventurer. Yeah, I've got a couple weapons, like a plus 50, like, you know, sword. It's like,
right.
I got this, you know, back.
Let me open this chest and like the heat of hell just radiates out. And he's like, oh, that one, the weakest one slipped out of its scabbard. Oh, let me just,
And cut a hole through the universe.
that's right. He's like, I saw the other day that you tend to use spears. I can't recommend those, to be used in a house.
True.
Uh, you'll be tripping people, and it's not as though the priest would be using that.
Mm.
If you've got something with a bit of a shorter weapon, that would be well done.
And I tell him daggers are really the only that and a flail, but that's flail's probably even worse. So uh, probably just stick to my daggers and magic.
Um, he said, you'd be decent at a short sword. You could always just pick up a short sword from town.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about short swords, but I'm sure I'll you know
You
just
you would be fair at a short sword.
okay.
So, and if you wanted to even add that to your thing and put short sword, fair.
Yeah, okay.
So you can basically use any sort of one-handed sword without penalty
Okay.
because you've had some experience at a dagger. But a
Right,
short sword is the closest to a dagger,
right.
and of the swords anyway. Mingosh is and Rollmaster Mingosh is the next one. That's the closest, but that's just a longer dagger with a big basket hilt
Okay.
that you know that the French love to use. That's the one you see if you ever watch like a Zorro movie or something. If someone's got a dagger paired with a rapier,
Yeah.
that dagger tends to be a Mingosh, and it's got this big basket hilt, and it's phenomenal for parrying.
Right, right. You kind of use it as a shield, yeah, to block.
Right, Mingosh means left hand.
Mm, that's funny.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. So he said, a short
Yeah.
sword, a club, you know, um, anything that would be quick and
Right.
ready.
Quick and
Um,
ready. Small radius, swinging in a.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, he does
Yeah.
not have any. He's a mace kind of guy, it appears. Um, he said you could also just use, whatever magics you might have. I don't know
Yeah.
what arts you possess, but you guys talked, I guess, about the fact that you are a paladin, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
can just list off some of the tomes I've been studying,
I
mastered
said,
thus far.
even your channeling power would be very appropriate,
Right.
um,
Right.
and could be used at short range, with some effect.
Mhm.
Um, that said, you also don't want to use any large shield. You wouldn't generally see that among the priesthood.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And the reason we're not going in as paladins is that there's no way that a temple this size would
Yeah.
even
Small
have.
town would hire
You would
that.
have one or two paladins maybe in training, but then they would get shipped off to larger houses of worship anyway.
Right.
Um, so otherwise, they just hire guards from the local populace.
Mm.
Um,
Fair. Fair.
so, um, and he said he's told all this to the other guys. They're supposed to be keeping to themselves until they hear when we're ready to rumble, which
Yeah.
begs the question of
Right.
how to find that out.
Right.
Um,
So I bring that up. Kind of the first question is: are we planning to, raid the temple before Brashla's men get there? Or sorry, raid the house before Brashla's men get there, or are we going to try to ambush them and deal a blow to Brashla at the same time? I don't know how many forces he's bringing to the table, right?
that's going to depend on us when, how quickly we can find out when the cult
Sure.
is meeting.
Right.
Another idea behind this that I've considered is having one of our new crew tail Brashla himself. And if we
Okay.
can figure out a pattern, what if we ambushed Brashla as the priest
Interesting.
late at night,
Yeah.
rough him up, you know, um,
I'll
tell
get
him
him to
we
maybe defer his idea. Yeah.
and um, and then maybe he becomes our inside man to the cult
Mm.
because we scare him. We put the fear of Astalon into him, and then we get him to tell us when they meet, and then we do another raid on the cult.
Right. That
In the
would
mean,
be a good plan to take out two birds with one stone. I'm
so
worried about if Brasha's the type to be intimidated, though, into that.
well, if we hurt him and his guards enough, um, then it's a chance.
Right.
It doesn't require us knowing when the the cult meets.
Right. Because we'll get that from him instead.
Now you mentioned a halfling that lives in town named Bengar, who has
Hmm.
been approached by the cult to join. We might be able to use him, but you also said this halfling was a little flaky.
Yeah. Definitely not the most reliable at keeping secrets. um, he might spill any important information we trust him with.
Um,
But I
so
mean, he'd definitely be at least able to tell us about some of the dates they meet, some of their patterns. If we were to join them, it'd be useful for that much.
now,
We don't have to tell him about our plan, right? We just have
right
to ask him for.
now, when you told him about Bengar, or actually when you first had your conversation with Bengar,
Mhm.
Who was it that had approached? He actually mentioned who approached him. Didn't he mention who approached him?
Did he? Let me check.
Um, it would be important to know because that's who he would approach now to if he was going to accept. It looks like you need new glasses based on how close you're leaning to your screen.
What's so funny is I am getting my an eye doctor appointment tomorrow to get a new prescription because
That's hilarious.
lost my old one, so I'll get some new glasses soon. So it just says he was approached by members of her cult not more than a week ago. It was Ichar. Ichar approached him. It was actually the person who approached Bengar. So that's kind of tricky.
Yeah, it's interesting because
You know,
certainly the cagier of the two in that encounter is going to be
right?
Ichar.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, Ichar is not one to be. Um, um, I mean, he's not one to be trifled with. He's hard to
yeah,
pull one over. I mean, he's cunning. And
yeah.
Bengar, that's the problem with Bengar is not that he's not trustworthy. He's just not cunning.
Right. Ichar might find out Bengar's intense, before he even,
Yeah.
manifests them. So
Bengar is so likely to overplay his hand.
right, exactly.
Um, but you would definitely get a meeting time from him. But again,
Yeah.
you'd hate to
If
put him
we
in
can,
danger. You'd hate to.
I mean, if Bengar were to talk with someone else from the cult, I mean, I guess talk with Brashla, it's the other person we know, and then Anlib herself, right? We haven't met.
Right. And Anlib, we know, is a prominent female goblin in town. She's one of the biggest winemakers in the county,
Right.
and she's friends with the Lady Meogral. Very good friends with Lady Meogral, which is so that's really creepy because you're just like we
Yeah.
don't want Lady Meogral to be involved in this stuff, and
No, this is not good.
but of
Yeah.
course, so long as you're not implicated in what happens to the cult, I guess it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
So
Yeah, so my thought is Bengar could approach a more docile member of the cult, right, and kind of claim
right.
that well, I had been approached once, and I considered the offer, and I'll now accept, and hopefully that way he can make his way into one of the meetings and get some information without going through some of the more cunning people like HR.
Right.
So I,
Um,
I think didn't Gabbers have a list of various people around town that he knows or
yeah, I think he does have. I know he's been like he's followed. He's
right,
yeah, he knows that they meet often at Anlib's house.
right,
And they may meet elsewhere, but they certainly meet at Anlib's house. And so he took a list from that.
right,
He had his servant. That's right. He had his servant follow, as I recall.
right.
Um, um,
So yeah,
yeah,
my thought then is I'll speak with Bengar and have him give him the name of someone to approach to and say that he found out they are a member of this cult and was approached once and would like in. Um, so I asked that to Gabbers if he thinks that's a good idea.
the question is, are we willing to risk Bengar's safety?
Right.
And I think the answer has to be that the God's wills simply have to be done. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's dangerous.
Right. And we'll
So,
make sure, as soon as he's in the cold, like we'll act as fast as we can to, get that date and figure out when we have to strike.
in the meantime, I'll put one of our crew on following Brashla,
Okay.
and then I will use the other members of our crew to see if we can somehow observe the best way to approach Anlib's house.
Mm-hmm. I do have. So I think I brought this up with Gabbers last time, right? I do have a guard I met at Anlib's house who might be on our side. Um, so I need to check if she has left word at the Everwell for me. but we might have a key resource there too. So I'll make a note of that. I should stop by the Everwell, see if she's left word.
Um, so
Okay.
Quinn said, "Risk it for the biscuit."
Yep. The biscuit is a worthy risk it.
That, funny. Um, he says that one of the adventuring crew that he's hired does have a familiar.
Mm,
It's a cat, and he says, "I didn't see a band of familiar on it, which is a magic item that creates
right.
familiars."
Right.
He said, "So that suggests then that he would have some arts. She. She would have some arts to be able to really use that familiar to our advantage.
Right. Right.
So if we could get the familiar inside the house, that would be ideal. And
Mm,
maybe I will work on that tomorrow morning.
good idea. Okay.
And uh, I know that your falcon is um, going to be quite useful too, but of course, more conspicuous inside of a house.
Right.
Um, do you think your bird is capable of opening a window?"
I'm gonna say no. I don't think what I'm thinking of what a falcon would be able to do, right?
Not unlock it, simply open an unlocked window.
Lift it
Do you
up.
have enough control over her to
I
be?
tell him I will certainly try, or we could try right now. I mean, does he have any windows on his
Of
house?
course,
Well,
what a dummy I am.
yeah. Why not?
So he's like, "True enough, let's do." And so he goes to his front window and unlatches it. You go outside, and
All right, Nalani. This one's for the biscuit.
so um, she definitely, you're sort of feeding her advice. Why don't you try here? And she, I think it's called valences. I think it's what they're called. The what separates the panes.
Oh, right.
I think those are called valences. But anyway, so she eventually is able to like stoop underneath and like with her back and with her legs and with her neck
Mm.
push it open somewhat.
Okay,
And
that's a good birdie.
that's right. Throws it some salted pork. And he says, "Excellent, because that cat could certainly flip a latch.
Mm.
She could
Okay,
open a window. The cat would have a harder time opening the window.
right.
And you may not know this about magical defenses, but once a door or window is open, that is a hole in the defense until it is closed,
Mm. Okay.
which means we might be able to teleport into Anleb's house."
Oh, through the window. Wow, interesting. Okay.
Then it would be to find Anleb's bedroom.
Mhm.
And if we appeared surrounding her in robes, she would tell us everything.
I think so too, given what we know about her. Might be able to even, not use much violence.
So then, your young guard friend, when was she working? Did you see her in the morning, the evening?
Yeah, it was in late morning when I had come across her.
Then tomorrow, I will go to the town and I will see if I can compel her to tell us where the bedroom is.
Okay.
Then that just leaves us getting the robes, and we might be able to do this very quickly.
Right.
Do you have
Yeah. So
accommodations?
we don't even. So what we're saying is we don't even need to wait for the cult to meet. We just, teleport in when Anlev is home and have her spill the beans.
With Anlib on our side, we will be in the house when they meet.
Right. Right. We'll
And
arrange all.
we could do all three of these.
Wow.
Meet,
Yeah.
rouse the meeting, and rouse Brashla on the road.
Right. Well, on the way to the meeting. Yeah.
And then that cult wouldn't dare re-meet. I mean, Brashla would probably lay low and try to get it back up again, but
Right.
when the word spreads through the cult what happened,
Right.
Brashla is going to have a very hard time rebuilding membership.
Now the one what we're betting on, right, is that Anleb won't, you know, obviously we're going to corner her some days before the cult meets again. So in
As
that.
I'm hoping we can get the robes done
Right.
very, very soon.
Right, but here's what I'm saying, right? We corner Anleb in her house, some days before the cult meets again. Then we have to depart and then, hope that Anleb will remain on our side. Does that make sense? I
Oh,
guess that's.
Anlib, if we put a dagger to her, really put the fear of God and gods into her,
Mhm.
she'll stay on our side.
Okay.
She's no HR who, trains with weapons. He's probably
Right.
seen bloodshed and, with the latest skirmish against Lord Algret. And Brashla, while he's probably cut a few throats, has not very often faced a throat cutting himself.
Mm. Okay.
So, if we were to do this, I would try to. I mean, if we had the robes, I mean, it's when would you might have even one robe done?
One is already done, actually.
And who would it fit?
Me. I believe Bright is that what she made it for. So
Then you and I could go tomorrow night and
okay,
attempt to do Anleb.
okay. If you think two is enough, and I can try to have one more done tomorrow, if I get her these sizes. So let's
He
bet
looks
on
at
that.
he looks at the list and he says, "This one, female." I'm going to hop to my generator
What
here.
do you want to do? The one with the familiar, right? With the cat.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's going to be a female. Why are you verifying Microsoft Excel? Why do that? Don't verify
Verifying.
something else. I need this.
Verifying.
Oh, you had to read that? Is that why you got so close?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had to. I got blurred. I had to refocus and re-verify.
That's right.
Complex process.
That's right. Recent. Nope.
I like
Uh,
how we had this idea like fleshed out at first, and then it's gone like more and more refined. This is cool.
yeah,
This
yeah, yeah.
could be real clean.
Where is? Oh, right there. Nope. Wrong one. There it is.
So, well, let you do that
No,
first.
that's fine.
Yeah. So when we corner Anlib, right, what do we need to tell her such that, the next time the cult meets, right, we basically are going to disband it. um, I guess it depends on what she tells us, really, how deep this cult has been going, how it's been running, right, and kind of powers it's connected to. That'll give us our next step, whether we, um, show up at the next meeting and kind of tell everyone to go home, or we actually have to do a little bit of fighting.
It's he tells you wait, sorry. Oh, right. Copy. He tells you you just leave the talking to me. Um so it's a female dwarf
Okay.
that they need it sized for. Um and That's really interesting. Huh. Yeah, magic user. Huh. Well, all right.
All righty. Okay.
So next step will be, um, he knows where the Everwell is. I said, if you have a room there, if you could get a room there tonight, that would save me going to the. Well, actually, you could just stay the night here if you're not, if it's not inappropriate.
Well, I would like to check at the Everwell for any word left by our guardswoman.
Right.
Uh, so I think it's been about 2 days since I brought that up. So, I tell him that I'll definitely go to the Everwell, and we can, if you need to, we'll get a second room. And
Oh, well, that sounds good. I'll grab all my gear. We
okay,
can set out as soon as you finished your stew, and then I'll see if I can rumble the guard and find out where the room is. I'll also go ahead and talk to the other our other hirelings about this plan. Um, and then tomorrow, you know, also you would need to travel to the keep and get what robes are ready.
I have, which is easy enough with teleport. It can do it pretty quickly. And then we can probably meet back at. I guess we can meet at the Everwell then tomorrow. Mid afternoon.
Um, yeah, because that'd give you time to make any other ones you need.
Right.
So, um, so yeah, with that decided, he says just watch the stew. When it boils, take it off the fire and give it a few stirs, and then um, he points to where the bowls and the spoons are, and he starts gathering stuff.
Okay.
Um, so I'm gonna. Sorry, I'm pasting these other guys in here.
Yeah. But now you just suddenly have 8 new NPCs. Need.
Oh, it's no problem though because of this lovely NPC roller that
Yeah.
Josh created for me. So literally, it is. I have to remember to paste correctly because I use that special paste that's paste just the values. Because if you don't do paste values, then what it does is it comes up with nonsense because you've taken the fields away from the formula that produces them.
Oh, sounds like a bad time to me.
Yeah, so you
It's
get
funny
this.
because I remember working with FileMaker, what, like
Oh
eight?
no, no, this is Excel. This is
Oh,
Excel.
they Excel, the right, the NPC generating Excel. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have one yet for FileMaker.
Now I remember we kind of got working, but not fully.
Yeah, it wouldn't quite do what we wanted it to do. So let me see. That's one, two, three, four. I just need one more, and I am done. So Um, roll for the food.
73.
Yeah, it's definitely hot. And there we go. All right, so I got all of them rolled up. Um, oh, okay, there it is. Oh, I missed a little bit. That's funny. Um, female, 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 male, female. That is hilarious.
All right, Gabrus. Jeez.
I know. Yep, yep.
Ladies.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta
I
say
bet they're all female dwarves, too.
that's right.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, cool.
Um,
Girl power.
so yeah, so you guys eat. Um, um, he grabs a couple of bundles and shuts his door and locks it and leaves his window open from the eagle. Just leaves it open,
Yeah.
and then and he takes a pony from out back and loads his gear on it, and he's just going to walk and and off you guys go. You just follow him. You don't trust your navigation,
I hope he knows where he's going.
so yeah, he just cuts through the woods, and then uh, they pay you pass through a farm, um, and you're like, I have seen that farm from the keep.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Its roof is very distinctive, very steep roof to keep off the snow, but it also is painted red. Um,
The red roof.
and you're like, I know.
And
Oh, that's
red roof.
the red roof.
That is a chain, right? Or
It
no?
is. It
Yeah,
is
okay, that's what I thought. I've only ever seen one.
very, very hit and miss. Sometimes you're like, oh, this is perfectly lovely. And sometimes you're like, this place is about to fall down. Yeah. Karen, Obi-Wan Karen knows a great deal about hotels. She used to work with a lot of hoteliers and things like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, she's always in charge of our travel stuff. She's like, "Wow, that's a pretty good one," and it's just funny to hear her talk about it. You're like, "I didn't realize there was so much to know."
Right,
So
right.
when my novel came out, and people should hop to Amazon. Feel free to buy as many of those as they want. Uh, there was a hotelier friend of hers, and they threw us a reception for free at their little hotel in Forsyth, Georgia. Just go to Forsyth, Georgia, and stay there.
Nice.
But just these lovely, lovely people, and they were just so sweet to her, and they gave us a whole little reception room for the release of my novel. Um, so yeah, so you guys make it to town. It's kind of late now. Um, the Everwell, did you have a room or you had a room?
I have a room,
Okay.
and I'll just pay for another 3 nights. I believe I paid for like 3 nights, so throw in another 3 nights. I think I have also the 3 copper a night. So,
Yeah.
oh
He'd
no,
pay.
I wrote here I paid 7 days. So okay, so I think
Yeah,
I'll
you're,
have 4 days left. So
yeah.
you're good.
And he was just going to pay night to night, so he gets a room, um, and probably before you guys head in, says maybe we shouldn't be seen together.
True, all right. I mean, it is a little darker in town. I'll pull it.
Yeah, but it's goblins.
Oh, that's right.
They have
Damn it.
no problem.
Yeah, I'll definitely have my hood pulled up. But yeah, I'll say you can go on ahead. I'll come. I'll wait like 10 minutes and
Well, he's got the better excuse because he's got a horse he's got to put up. So you just go on, and
I'll go on. Yeah.
so yeah, go in. Any notes for you? There is a note for you.
Okay.
It is from the guard.
Yeah. Which I don't think we have a name for her, right? I don't know if you rolled her.
I don't think you had time. I don't think it
No.
was.
Yeah, she was very secretive too.
Yeah,
So
it was like let's get this stuff going.
yeah.
Um, Whoops. Huh. So the note has a date on it. It was from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It says meeting tonight.
Ooh. Okay.
Roll for me.
50.
Um, Innkeeper asks, if you need anything, there's still some cold bread and cheese left if you'd like something to eat.
No, it should be fine. I'll take a drink though while I'm waiting for Gabris.
Are you going to meet in the common room?
I guess not. Right, that's true. We should probably meet in each other's rooms. Yeah, so we're not seen. So then, no, I will just. Well, then he won't know what room I'm in. So
Right. So what you ought to do maybe is stay in the common room. When he comes in, you just go. Is it visible from the common room? Yes, your room is visible from the common room.
okay,
So you just then go to the common room.
kind of like give him a glance and go to the common room. I mean, go to my room. Yeah, that's what
Right.
we'll do. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Let's see.
Um,
Is it the 28th? Okay.
where are my? Oh, I left them off like an idiot. That's who I left off of this list. Oh, there they are. The Trinidos are meeting you when?
On the morning of the 30th. That's what I just saw. I'm like, yeah, I should remember the date.
And so roll for me.
23.
Okay. Um, Sorry, there's a
You're good.
whole undercurrent of shit going on now.
Oh man,
So,
I'm just
um,
taking my notes, oblivious.
so Gabris, yeah, you're just sitting in the commons room on your laptop, leaned way in because of your poor vision due to years of only candlelight and torches.
Ah,
You know,
someone should invent a light bulb, like while I sit on a laptop on an LED screen.
what do you say on all share to the internet. There.
Jeez.
Um, so yeah, you see, go to your room. A few minutes later, there's a knock at your door. Um, it's Gabris calls through. Roll for me.
81.
There's a note of tension to his voice.
Okay. Yeah. Open in, say, come in, come in.
He steps in quickly, closes the door. He said, I don't know how, but if I had to guess, one of Brashla's men is here to make trouble.
Oh man.
They've somehow linked you to something that needs to be taken care of. Um, so he saw your nod to me, sat down at my table, was pushing me for information. He had a dagger,
Mm.
and now he's deeply asleep at one of the tables in the common room.
Mm.
But that doesn't solve our problem.
No.
Roll for me.
16.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, they still don't know we're acting tomorrow, right? So,
how do they know to come here?
well, they know that I have a room here, at least because I came here a few days ago.
How do they know that you were here? How do they know that?
Okay. I see. I see what he means. We need to trace this back. So I know I came to the Everwell after I talked with the guardswoman, um, and I told her that to leave word there. This is the only connection I can think of. Right, then it would have shown up here. The other thing is if somehow HR knows the conversation I had with Bengar at Miagral Keep a couple weeks ago.
So you've been followed this whole time?
If it's, I don't know.
I mean, you didn't have a room here before.
No, only
When
got
did
a
you choose to get this room?
like 3 days ago, right after I spoke with the guardswoman at Anlin's. Hmm.
So you think you were followed?
I mean, yeah, that's this. That's the possibility, right? Followed here after they saw I talked with her.
Roll.
Let me get a room here. 82.
They either followed you or they followed whoever sent the note from your guard friend.
Oh, that's true. Then if it would have gotten here addressed to Brise, right? And everyone knows who I am, so that's not too hard. Okay, well I tell him that as well. You know, there was a note for me from the guardswoman. It's another kind of link to me that someone might have tracked.
Roll.
8. Man, I should have
Yeah,
given.
that's okay. He rolled a 5 to make the next leap, but um,
We're just stewing then. Yeah, so they know definitely I am at least looking for information on this place, and now they know that you are as well. Okay,
well, they don't know until he reports.
right, right. I like Kevin. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I think we give him a permanent stay at the Everwell. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he's like, well, we definitely have a problem now.
Yeah. Because if he reports
This
back,
is
and Brasha will already probably not even show up to the next meeting, right? Or do whatever he needs to do as quick as possible.
It also means that your guard friend is either in trouble
Right.
or dead.
Yeah. Woo. Risky business. Yeah, we have to keep that guard from reporting back. So, what could we do with him? Short of killing him. Could teleport him out of town.
We could ride him out of town.
I mean, yeah.
We could tie him up at the cottage. I don't have a problem with that. It's just it's getting late, and that's 2 hours there and 2 hours back.
Yeah. Teleport has to be willing too, right? So if he's asleep, then can't
It's
use that.
it's possible it would work to teleport an unconscious person.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So an unconscious person can give consent. Is what you're
it's
saying?
possible if it's cast well enough
Okay.
that it can overcome the inherent defenses against magic influence.
We're still talking about teleports, right? Sorry.
In anything you want, buddy.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Okay. Well, I will tell him that my knowledge of magic my skill with teleport is not probably where that needs to be, I would think.
That's one of the things I wish I could do for Rollmaster. I wish I had the time to really develop. It's just a secondary priority. Is really have skill categories for magic.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy that, where it's like, here's teleportation and portals, here's
Right.
illusions, here's attack magic.
I mean, just based on how many times I fumbled, I think Brise would not have confidence in her
No,
skill.
right.
I mean, I've had a couple of really good teleports, but
yeah. I mean, it's the
stuff.
thing is, I mean, the thing that you always heard in your training is magic is just it's hard and it can't be taken for granted.
Yeah.
I am glad I changed some things about where it's not always lethal though. I like better doing like big power point loss and big exhaustion and a little bit of damage. I like that better.
Yeah, I recall in the first couple, I think first year or two, we were playing Rollmaster. When I fumbled a spell, I was like, finger crossed I wasn't going to die. But now it does seem like it's more of a major inconvenience,
Right. So that, it's like, you can fumble and get by, but it does definitely cost you. Now, the higher stuff, the really powerful stuff, those will have more damage. I mean, you basically take at least the level of the spell and damage.
Right.
So you can think about casting a 30th level spell and messing up.
Right.
That is a blow. And especially if you're not as such a physical character, like you're a wizard and you're not as physical as these warriors and so on.
Right.
So
we either try to teleport him, or if there's somewhere closer by, into places I know in town, but yeah, nowhere be good to secretive enough to hold someone.
All right. Let's say we walk him out of here like he's drunk.
Yeah.
We have to be careful not to wake him. He's in a natural sleep brought on by my magic. Take him to the stables, saying we're going to get him a ride home.
Mm-hmm.
Then wake him in the stables, put a dagger to him, and tell him he's going to have to go out of town or we're going to kill him.
Okay. And then we'll see how he reacts to that. Yeah.
After that, roll for me. He asked you if you remember the way back to his cottage well enough.
45.
With luck and with Nalani, you think you can do it. Particularly given, there's a fire going in his cottage, right?
Yeah.
follow that smoke out. You know to look for the red roof inn. And he says we could bound him and gag him if he says no. Throw
Mm-hmm.
him across the pony. You've got to somehow sneak him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to go to the Adventuring Guild and get our hirelings to lay in wait and watch for your guard friend because she has to be told that her life's in danger.
Yeah. Mm,
In
okay.
the meantime, we'll just set up, I'll tell them the plan we've got so far. So that's as good a plan as I can think of. Let's walk this guy out of here.
Right. Get to the
Uh,
stable and see if he'll be quiet on his own.
um,
Yeah, I'm wondering how I could kind of sneak him out of not. I have my spells here. I mean, I could put him to sleep too once we have him on the horse.
we just have to make sure he's gagged. We could ride him out of town in a couple of hours. I mean, it's already fairly late, but he
Right.
has to stay asleep.
Right.
Um, so maybe we bring him in here first, and then we'll put him to sleep again and see. Now we have another problem, and that is how is he so certain that you were the one the note was for? How did he get a hold of the note since he's obviously not you? The innkeeper
Oh, I
doesn't.
see. I see. The innkeeper wouldn't show him the note. I didn't think about that.
So,
He might have gotten a hold of the messenger then, and you know, kind of intimidated him into showing him who the note was for.
or the innkeeper or one of the barmaids. The thing is that he either has people here already, Brashla, which is not uncommon for brothel owners to have innkeepers in pay
Sure.
just to send business and someone asks where the local brothel is, or they really are an aid. They
Mm-hmm.
really are an ally.
Right.
And I don't know how we're going to find that out without rattling some skulls. Oh, I was going to look at this. Um,
Okay.
so,
You know.
do we want to start the? Do we want to maybe take a break
Yeah.
um, and then
We'll interrogate our guard here.
right? Well,
Out
we'll
first.
start the we'll start the whole.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to ask Gavris. It's like, you know, I'm familiar with the charm spell. I think that'll be probably perfect if we can. He's not cooperative. That'll get him on it out of town on his own, right? But I guess it'll only last for what 10 minutes a level, so it'll last for an hour and a half. So well, I guess he'll walk to the cottage, right?
Right. Now the
And
other
so,
thing is we could try.
if that, yeah,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if we need to, that's probably the best alternative. Is charm him, then we can get to the cottage quietly, tie him up.
And he may agree, and we may even be able to bribe him.
That too,
I
yeah.
didn't bring a lot of gold on me,
Well, I recently went shopping, so I have all my gold on me.
but it may take a couple of hundred to convince him to leave town and never return.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll run take a break then, and then we will see if we can get this spy of Brashula's um, knocked out or what have you and dealt with. So, guys, just give us a minute and we'll be back. Just going to grab our drinks, refresh our drinks, and stretch our legs. Hope you do the same, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Don't go anywhere.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us through the break. Kill that little bad boy.
Kill him.
Um, that's right. There we go. Putting that up.
We lose
So,
a little complication to our plan. Let's see.
yes. So he's yeah, pretty. He's not happy that things have gone this way. Obviously. Um, So he said he had this is the dagger he held on me, and he hands it to you, and it is a very nice dagger.
Mm,
It is a dagger of blinding.
blinding.
Um, so there's a first for you. Um, why does it keep doing that? So yeah, it's a plus 20 magic dagger,
Whew.
and if you get a critical from it, you've got to resist its magic where it blinds you. So
Temporarily or permanently?
temporarily.
Although we don't have to tell the guard that.
That's right. Well, see, the thing is, this requires no attunement, so
Right.
it it means well, actually, why don't you? I'm gonna have him roll. Why don't you roll?
51.
You're like this guy must be high up in their organization.
Mm.
There's no way he afforded this item, right?
Wait, wait. Sorry. I thought Gabbers handed me a dagger.
This is the dagger. Yeah, this is the dagger the guy had on him.
Oh, he stole it off him. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Well,
Okay.
yes, he disarmed him.
Stolen from. Yeah.
And so that means, so this was probably given as a reward to
Yeah.
this guy, which means this guy is pretty high up, you
Yeah.
conclude. Um,
Might be a little tougher to convince. Yeah.
um,
So you just giving it to me? Oh, thanks.
yeah, he doesn't care. He's like, here you go.
Oh, I'll add to my inventory here.
Unfortunately, it weighs 65 pounds. That's
Oh,
the only, how funny
I
would that
don't
be?
want to take it.
The more magical an item is, the heavier it gets.
It's
And the higher
insane.
its fumble goes, like a dagger fumble is on a 1, I think. And not like
Yeah.
this fumble's like on a 27. You're like,
Oh
man, I
my.
can't use this thing.
Pummels on a 99. Oh.
The same as its weight. You know,
Oh
that's how
man.
it goes.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny.
A plus 5 daggers, plus 5 fumble, plus 5 to attacks, plus 5 pounds.
Wow. Wow. People in
Um,
Karandrin would be dying all the time, more than they do now.
right. Um, so,
Agent must resist.
roll for me.
45.
Yeah. Ah, man, this is rough. I don't know.
Yeah.
So now we're dealing with a very trusted. I mean, maybe he's not an administrator, right? But he's like a top thug, right?
Mhm.
You're not going to send a lieutenant to do this kind of thing, right? It's too
Right.
menial, but it is important. So this is probably a top thug. So
Right.
now, you know,
I mean, maybe we don't even risk um, the interrogation. Maybe we just charm him while he's asleep. I mean, then we just take him back to the cabin.
your charm doesn't last that long. I mean, it's a 2 hour trek to the canyon, right?
That's a good point. I mean, could you cast it again? Right. So it's 10 minutes.
Sure.
So I could just put some more powerpoints into it, right? Um,
That
so
doesn't lengthen it.
oh right, that would just increase the
Influence, the chance of
influence.
influence.
Sorry, yeah. So that means it'll be 140 or sorry, 100 minutes. So that's an
100
hour and
minutes.
40 minutes.
So that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, Gabris. So you suggest charm. He says, no offense, but my charm is probably better than yours. My skill with it.
Well,
Um,
sure, but I'm more charming.
no kidding. No kidding. Um,
I mean, yeah, I say if we think this guy won't be persuaded, let's not even try to persuade him.
all right. We'll just have to risk that no one here reports that this guy, was seen with us.
Right. Right. And that's the other thing is if two people actually went and one person was sent to watch him interrogate you. I mean, but then he would already have, gone back or woken up his friend. So that's probably not. Don't have to worry about that.
All right. I'll charm him. Then I'll introduce you to him.
Okay.
No, it's simply too complicated. You're going to have to go deal with the adventurers.
Oh, I see. Because he needs the charm, then they're the friends. Yeah, instead of me charming. Okay. No, that's fine.
He takes out pen and paper. He writes a very hurried note. He gives it to you. Says, this is to convince the adventurers that you're the person I'm helping.
Hmm.
And then he takes he blots he not blots ink. That's not he drips ink onto the paper, and he says, "Put your thumb there." And he puts two small pools, two small drops. Right. He says, "Put your thumb there,"
Okay.
and he puts one on his, and now it's marked. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And at least you can show them that you are stained. And then when I come to them, I can show them they're stained. And that
Oh.
doesn't work because he's there. He can just vouch for you. So that doesn't help either. I was trying to think some more. Yeah.
Kevin, Gavin, poor Gabbers. He's like thinking of all these ideas. Like, what do I do?
Yeah. Because they tell you no, then you're stuck. Well, who cares? It is
Look,
what it is.
I'll convince them. Okay,
You charm them. That's hilarious.
I'll charm the adventurers. You charm them. I charm Anlib. Oh my gosh.
So, all right. So off you guys go. You're
Okay.
going to the thing.
So I'm telling the adventurers, that the plan is, well, at least that we need the one with
So,
the cat familiar, right? She needs to be
so,
there tomorrow.
well, that one, we've got to set up watches to try to catch this guard, and you'll describe the guard to them. Step two is the new plan. Describe the new plan to them of trying to get some of them in using the cat familiar,
Right.
threaten Andlab, and get the goods on everything. And then hopefully Gabrus will be back soon. Be
Right.
back at the Everwell, or should you have him meet you at the Adventuring Guild?
Adventuring Guild might be better. The Everwell might be a little unsafe now.
You're right.
Yeah.
So he'll be back tonight once he deals with this guy.
Right. The Eternal Lantern. I think, does the Eternal Lantern have rooms? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yes.
do, yeah. One silver piece a night. So
So
tell Gabbers to bring his pocketbook.
um, he says he'll have money at the cottage to bribe the guy, so he's
Yeah.
covered there. He's going to say, convince him to leave while charmed.
Right.
And
Okay.
if he's going to try to convince him to go. And then if his charm lasts, say, 2 hours, at least the guy will be 2 hours outside of town.
Right. Right.
Um, so um,
He's charming and plus polite. Okay. Yeah, I guess Brees, trusts Gabrus is he's an older guy, right? But he seems to know what he's doing. He's been investigating this cult for a while, so I'm like, be safe, friend.
it's one of those things where you're like, you know, you're not going to tell him any secrets, right? About you. You
Right,
don't trust him. You don't trust him with intimate sort of thing. You
of
trust his
course, yeah.
competence. You
Right,
know,
exactly, right. But I still, worry for his safety. Like,
sure.
he's got to be.
Particularly as a man of the blue cloth. You know, as a follower of all of your gods. But as a devotee to Astalon, Queen of the gods, yeah, you trust that he'll do what a person, in his position should do.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
um, so, he says, why don't you go first? Um, pay attention to see if you're being followed. I know it's going to be tough. You might
Yeah,
have your little birdie. Um, keep an eye behind you.
yeah. And I think I'll cast night vision on myself once I'm outside. Would be a good
Okay.
idea.
So you guys step out.
Forgot I'm also at 39 exhaustion, so I had a
Yeah,
long day.
you're
Yeah,
tired, but you're not. You can keep functioning.
yeah,
And the great thing about it is like, because I always think about one of the chief things I think about when it comes to exhaustion is the scene in Lord of the Rings in the Two Towers, where not the movies, but the actual book, where although it was in the movies, but Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are running full
yeah,
tilt for
yeah.
3 days.
Yes.
You know, and I love the sort of the epicness of that. You know,
Mhm.
but also causing the question like, okay, how do you deal with tiredness and fatigue and this sort of thing?
Right, right.
Uh, if you want a sort of heroic feel to things. And so one of the ways I do it is your self discipline. And the other way, I have a number for every character that's a secret number that is courage.
Oh, okay.
And you can make a roll on that. And hey, don't forget your miracle roll, which we always forget about. And
Miracle roll to tell me what my courage is. It's a 6.
um, so you guys walk out,
Okay.
and there's a goblin barmaid um, with a hand on the shoulder of this guy who's obviously very groggy, and
Hmm.
she's pointing at your room talking.
Oh my gosh. We
And Gabrus, you know, you know, clenches his teeth and he's like blazes.
new plan. um. Well, we'll. He's groggy. Maybe we can just. I look to Gabber, so I don't want to act. On his behalf. But would probably just try to. Walk him out of there while he's still groggy. Get him outside, and we can cast a spell on him.
The guy is increasing, you can tell he's coming to and he's getting increasingly. Um, roll for me.
It really is just like a natural seat. 96. No, 99. Woo.
Roll again and add it.
Plus 100.
Roll again and add it.
There's a miracle roll. Plus 37. 100, 236.
There is the barmaid, no doubt, who is in Brashless pay and
Mm,
knows that this guy was on duty.
wow. Okay.
There's no question in your mind about it. Probably got access to the note for him. Um, the guy looks down at the drink he had at the table and looks at you two angrily and then dumps it, feeling he must have been drugged.
Mm.
Um, he's a local, so he's a goblin. Let me roll this guy up.
Okay.
Um,
We might hope we don't start a bar fight here. Hopefully we
oh, wrong one.
take this outside.
Um, yeah, that's why they have that expression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as a male, um, so you glance at what you call. You glance at Gabris. Gabris, like he says, "Stand ready. Put your hand on your weapons." And yeah, the guy is furious.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
he yells to those who are, in the common room. He's like, "I don't know what kind of establishment you're running here that lets poisoners and witches in their midst." Where's his intelligence?
At least he didn't say bitches.
Hey, it's the Me Too era. Never say that.
Never.
Said, but these two put something in my drink, and looks at the innkeeper directly and says, "Brashla will hear of this. You'll have no more coin from him." And
Mm.
interesting. I mean, this is
Yeah, I don't know. How do we calm this guy down? I mean, I'm not sure.
so. Gabras steps sort of around you, in between you two. Not fully. He wants to leave room for you to make it around pretty clearly, if you need to go for a weapon.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, you can always just brawl. Okay.
Right. We don't have to.
And
Yeah.
you've not had many brawls, but
Right. And that's my thought is like, I could use the excuse, look, if you think there's insult with us, fight us and we'll deal it outside, over blows. But
it looks like Grabber's is going for the same thing. He says, uh, you know, um, "We can put this to our medal if you have quarrel with us. The fact that you're a lousy drunk is no excuse to accuse people of being witches or poisoners." And Gabris turns and just walks by the guy, gives you a glance before, and he heads to the door.
okay. Yeah. And I glance at the guard and, I'll follow after Gabris.
The guard,
Well, what's his name?
henchman,
The henchman. Yeah. The thug, the hooligan.
the hooligan.
Turn this guy off. Put him up. Put him up.
You find yourself unreasonably furious at that barmaid. I
Yeah.
mean,
They
you're
really
like
full and long plans. Yeah.
endangered people.
Hmm.
You walk by, the henchman checks you by the shoulder um, and says, I'm not going anywhere with you two. Um, what do you want to do? You really have to act first just
Well,
because.
I would say, fine then. You be on your way, and I'll be on mine, and then I'll look at Gabrus, and hopefully he gets the idea. We can just
Yeah, you just knock his hand off and go. Throw out that thing. Roll for me.
71. What
You,
a Karen, am I right? What kind of establishment is this?
that's so funny.
Not Obi-Wan Karen. She's great. She's great. And,
We'll see. We'll see.
oh no.
Um, he says, You'll not be safe anywhere in this town. When Brashla hears of this, he'll haul you out by your heels. And he turns, and you guys sort of out the door, and he yells to somebody, send word to Brashla about what happened.
Mm, he's not good himself. Okay. Mm.
Um, so, you guys, he's ahead of you considerably. You make it out, roll. Let's have you scan the area.
15. It is pitch black, I guess.
Well, there's lights pouring out, but you
Right.
don't see of any. You don't see anything of consequence. Um, don't worry. Our seeing in the dark dwarf rolled a 99, a 96, and a 53.
All right.
Got you covered. So that's a 249 without any bonuses. Um, um,
We have another person. Watch out for this. Gonna be the brash was. We'll have
this
to
is
intercept.
this is messy. It's so hard to know what a really
Yeah.
experienced guy would do,
Yeah. Of
and
course.
it's hard to know what to do in this situation.
Yeah. And it's kind of constantly changing. We keep making plans, but they keep spilling out
Yeah.
of control. Well, I asked Gaverson, I guess we just, wait to see who runs out of there with uh, stop them and see if they're on their way to Brashla. But then that leaves, now there's two people we have to convince. At least we can charm the thug, but whoever he sends out, we might have to bribe them on the spot.
He says, "Curse my beard! I wish I had been quicker on my feet. Let's get the pony at least. We can at least talk in the stables."
Okay.
So you guys hurry. Um, he throws some coins at a goblin boy who's napping clearly on the stables.
Yeah.
He's like, "My pony, the gray one, go go," And, um,
Not Terry. Or Dilly or Dally.
he's like, um, he says, "You might ready yourself for trouble. There's no telling what's coming."
Yeah.
And we don't know. Do we know what he uses? What Gabrus uses?
You said something about maces. He's a fan of
No,
maces.
I'm sorry. I was thinking. Sorry, I should have been more specific. Um,
Oh, in terms of magic.
yeah.
No, I don't think we've seen him cast a spell yet.
Oh Lord, that's what I get. All right. So yeah, I don't think I have him rolled up. He pulls a wand from his sleeve. Um, and it is it just hums like it's ready to go.
Mm.
Um, Plain black wood, little iron ring around the handle, just very plain looking. He pushes you back into the sort of into the edge of the stables so that you can't be seen. Um, Directly down the alley. Um, um,
All right. Yeah.
wow. What do you want to ready?
I will have. So I'm assuming trouble is in people might start trying to attack us, but they're going to be civilians, so obviously don't want to be stabbing anyone with a spear.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're a civilian. I mean, yeah, I don't
Well,
think you.
yeah, right. If they show up with spears, then I'm going to use a spear, right? I'll have my spear of the north pulled out.
Well, no, I'm saying I wouldn't worry about. I mean, I wouldn't even worry about taking lives because the people who are trying to take your lives aren't going to be nice. I don't. They're not going to be using spear. I mean, I guess you pull out a spear, but if the cops come, the constables come, you're in bigger trouble, right? Because you've got a spear.
Right, I'm the one with the weapon.
So I'm wondering, like, do you want to do a dagger? Do you want to do spells?
Right, right. So I'll have a dagger then. My where's my dagger here? Dagger of piercing dagger,
Okay.
and yeah, I'll have I've got a couple spells I've definitely memorized. Right, so I'll just kind of.
Well, no, I mean you have them all. It's not a matter of memorization, right? In this game, you have learned them. They're like a skill. You can always use them. My
Right.
question to you is there one that you want to be reciting over and over that'll lower it?
Oh, I see what you mean. I didn't think about that.
That's what readying means in this game.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll ready the sleep spell. If anyone shows up, I can just throw a
What
sleep.
level? How,
We'll do
how
it
far?
at 10th level.
Okay.
So 10th level sleep spell. Just have a dagger in hand, reciting that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone comes up looking like they're looking for trouble, can launch that at them and
Right. Um,
tie their hands up. At least get an extra turn.
the boy brings the pony. Um, um, you guys sort of stay in the stables for a bit.
I would have put Nalani above the inn and just kind of switched to her, see anyone coming up and down the street, or coming out of the inn.
Well, do you care about the inn, or do you want to do like the back alley that runs behind the tavern?
True, yeah, that would be a better. If someone's coming up through that way, or
Uh,
leaving through that way. Yeah. So good point. I'll have her watch the back alley, and I'll tell
okay.
Gabrus if
Um,
I see any activity back
there's the sound of running footsteps along the main street.
there.
Gabrus turns back from where he was watching. He goes, "It's the barmaid,"
Okay.
and he says, "Just follow me." And he turns to the boy. And he says, "Do you know who Brashla is?" And the boy nods. And he says, he takes out a silver for the boy. Um, and he says, "If you tell anyone where we've gone, we'll get hurt. You can tell them or not, but this is for you." And he presses them into his hand. And you guys go down the side, further down the side alleys,
Okay.
kind of at a jog.
Pony clopping along the side of
Yeah.
this.
It says, keep your dagger hidden.
Of course.
We don't want to be stopped by some constable. So he's like, I don't have much use for inns. Keep your eye open for an inn. We've got to ditch the pony. And then it's teleporting to the adventuring guild.
Okay, so we're not going to try to stop the barmaid then. Okay. I
Unless you
guess he's kind of had.
recommend it. You can always recommend it. Like, don't let
Yeah.
these
So yeah. So while he's talking about this, I'm like, we're not going to try to stop the barmaid. I think it's better we just.
I think we're rumbled. We could stop her easily enough. But
With
then
that,
what do we have? We have a
right.
female in our custody, unconscious.
Yeah. And then there's still the other thug who could have told 20 other people at the inn. So we just have to act quickly. Then is the best bet.
As you guys are going, he says, I wish I had thought more quickly. I would have told him I'm a priest of Astalon. And then we could have walked out. And then everything that we do thereafter would seem natural.
Right. Right.
But I was a fool. So now you and I both
Yeah,
will
you
have.
kind of were, Gabbers. You were. I'm like, like action movies. I'm that one foil character who just like wisecracks. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, tell me about it.
I had I thought it was going to be just an interesting session of like we have to deal with this guy, and then I said, oh, I've got to consider that whoever, if there is someone else in the employ, right, that he bribed to do this, right, that person would be like, well, if I want more money, I can't let him just sleep on the job.
Right.
So I said, okay, is there another person willing to do this? Double ought.
Oh man,
And so I'm like, all right, so
gotta be.
so wakes him and is telling him this while you guys were in the room, and then you guys walk out, and he's coming to,
Yeah.
and just really that double ought. Not that it need to be a terribly high roll, but double ought. Geez.
Right. Right. Definitely complicates things. Makes it juicier.
It does make it juicier.
Yeah, we're running to Adventure Skill. I'm keep my eyes peeled for an inn. I know there is another inn in town. No, I don't have it written down. The one that maybe there was just a tavern that Oshekra. I met him at
Though that would have places for horses. But
right. Okay.
you could just tie. It's true. You could just tie up there.
Right. No, I offer that. I don't know. I can't remember where it was in town, but it's that place.
He says, I know that place. He said, but Brashla definitely has men there.
Okay.
It's such a high-end facility. He wants to catch wealthy travelers who need a bit of rest.
Mm-hmm.
He says, well, so you guys run for several minutes, so the half trot.
Yeah.
Not really disturbed. No sign of an inn. In the biblical story, it wasn't an inn. That's a misinterpretation.
Which biblical story?
There's no room at the inn. The birth of Jesus, yeah, it's not really an inn. The fact that he was set in a manger was no big deal. All of this stuff is long-standing misinterpretations, and of course, then later believers then ratcheted it up to show you just how poor and desperate he was, and none of it really is accurate.
Right.
So
I remember learning like Presbyterian preschool. I'm like, I thought he was just born in his home. I don't know what a manger was. I'm like, it's just his house, right?
Yeah, manger is well, it's from it's from the Latin and from the fruit from the French, and so therefore also French has it manger to eat.
Oh,
A
okay.
manger is a trough
Oh, wow.
for animals.
Right.
Um, but see, back then the family would live upstairs, and they would bring their animals in at night for this open downstairs to protect the animals from
Yeah.
thieves. So
Yeah.
the interpretation of inn is not really. It really kind of means, I forget the exact thing. It's sort of like a friend's house.
Right.
And
Right.
so
It
there was
could.
no room upstairs for people because the family was full or they had visitors. So
Right.
they just had to stay in the downstairs where the
Right.
animals were. It was
Right.
they were just house guests. That's all it was. And they just made space for the baby. And I'm
Yeah.
sure they filled it
Oh,
with clean
yeah.
straw. And it was a warm house. It's all this, kind of stuff.
Right. It wasn't like out in the cold, you.
Right, right. But
Um,
yeah. Um, so he says, I hate to do this. Um, but we're gonna have to wake her up. And so he turns down a couple of alleys. You go down, and so you come to um, a large home, small garden with a wall around it. You can see over the wall. It's not that tall,
mm,
and he's like, "Keep a lookout." And he raps on the door, raps a little louder. Um, uh, Goblin butler in his pajamas answers, and he says, "Wake the mistress of the house. Tell her Gabrus is here. Go, man, go." And um, eventually, a light comes on upstairs, and the window opens above you. Gabrus backs out so he can see. Um, Older goblin woman,
mm.
and is gazing down and is like, "Gabrus, go away." And he says,
You stop for a serenade, Gabbers?
exactly. He's like, "I'm in a bit of a mess. I just need you to
Do you
take
have
my pony into your stables.
Okay. I
If
thought
you
it was
know."
gonna, we were gonna try to. Yeah. Okay.
She tells him, "No, I'll not have anything to do with this. You're going to wake my neighbors, and I'll not have that. Go." And
I'll try to step in and say it's very dire matters. There are some lives at stake here. We can't don't get our business done, please.
she looks at you. She's like, "You're Mirgral's guest at the castle."
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I know, right? Just thing when you look up to talk to somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you telling me that this is a favor for Lady Mirgral?
It can be.
Look at your face.
No, depends on how you feel about me, girl.
Well, it also depends on how you feel about lying,
Right, right. I mean, it will eventually benefit Mirgral and
Lady
her
Mirgral.
Lady Mirgral, right? So I say, and I kind of, say, it will benefit the lady if you would help us.
And you add, so if there is, so when the opportunity arises, I of course would mention your help.
Right, right.
I can't believe she just flat out rolled a 12. She's like, "I do not, you could be on fire. Go away."
I'm like, Gabris, you need better friends.
Yeah, I know, right? Now you know who to charm. So charm this old hag, right? It's Jesus.
Jesus. Well, Gamers might say goodbye to your pony here.
Um, turns into the room. Let them in. Take his pony in. Good night. Closes everything.
Oh my
Light goes
god!
out.
I want to know. I want to know this woman's story. What kind of night did she just have?
I know, right? Um,
Exhausted.
Butler comes, is obviously not happy at the decision. Um, Gabrus shoves the reins into his hands. Um,
He takes in Gabrus's pony with much reluctance.
slaps the butler on the arm, says, "You're a good man. You're a good man," and grabs you. You guys skirt into an alleyway. Um, and he's like, "Are you ready to teleport?"
I am and willing.
Wow, he nailed that. Teleports. He rolled like a 155,
Mm,
and boom, you appear at um, one of the spots that'll set aside for teleporting.
Does the Eternal Lantern have those? Well,
It has something, right? That's where he appears.
sure. Yeah.
So he
Okay. Well, we're here. We can, go in and greet our adventuring friends or allies.
so
I
yeah,
guess
he,
they're probably staying here, right? We'll just knock on their doors and kind of summon them for a meeting.
well, yeah, you guys can go in there and meet, So whip through the doors. Cabras shows his new membership marker, and um, and there he immediately just grabs your arm and you go into the commons room, and there is a group of five adventurers um,
Sweet.
sitting, deliberately sort of very conspicuously off to themselves, like leave
Right.
us alone.
Not
And
other people that join in. Yeah.
right. Um, um, predominantly, predominantly women or female. Um, Female dwarf, female human, uh, female goblin, and two female orcs. That's
Nice.
crazy. Not exactly the company you would expect. Um, so we go straight to them. Some of them immediately recognize Gabrus, those that are sort of facing your way, right? And they rise. Um, and You guys grab chairs. Um, you guys are about half the population of the things. There's only about
Right.
maybe seven to 10 people in here, other than yourselves. Of course, they look up because adventurers are interested in everything. And you sit beside Gabrus. They all sort of slide around, scooch around, and make. Um,
So my name's Brise. What's your name?
that's right.
Tell me twice because I'm gonna forget. Be really like social.
That's right. So yeah, they. So I mean, if you want names, I'll give you names, or we can do it afterwards. It depends on what
We
you
can
want.
do that after, yeah. So I
Yeah,
would just say we can kind of roll through, right? So he probably just tells them everything that's happened so far, kind of the chain
yeah.
of plans.
Um, oh, of course he chose women. I mean, I know I didn't roll it this way, but it just works out so perfectly that he would choose women because they have no interest in brothels. They
Oh,
they
of course, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
they can't be so interesting.
right. Well,
Um,
theoretically, that.
no, I'm sure. I mean, in all likelihood,
But right, no, yeah, definitely. Like the
the
guy
estimates
would be
on
a
I
lot
haven't
more at
looked
risk for.
right. I haven't looked up percentage of transgender in the estimates in population, but homosexuality estimates range from 3 to 10%.
Right. But even
Uh,
like you think about like at that era, right? Even if a woman did like,
oh,
desire something, like there's no way
exactly,
she could, have
exactly. Yeah,
classes, whatever.
it's an interesting thing, and I don't know, like there's all this talk about inclusivity and safety and role playing and that sort of thing, and I respect all that. I don't know what to do with the historical complications of it.
Oh yeah, it's really difficult. It's one of the big things like historical accuracy versus, that they really there's no good way to.
Right. I mean, you could just make an argument. Well, just who cares, right? Just let it be socially accepted and play.
Right.
Especially if that makes it more welcoming to players um, who are of that persuasion and dealing with those issues. I mean, and I certainly wouldn't care about doing that here.
Mhm.
Because once you create your own world, then well, yeah, I mean, you
Right.
can go back and forth and say, well, who cares, right? I mean,
Yeah, it really is just it's like a contract between, the players and the DM, right? What do you feel comfortable with?
right.
I'd
You know,
rather you have your world and I'll engage with it however I can. So
right.
that's the
Um,
kind of way. So
but anyway, so
so we got everybody.
they don't react like they're like, okay, this is you're like, I know the feeling that they're experiencing on their faces, which is a complication. It never goes smoothly.
Mm,
That's okay. We'll roll with it.
yeah,
It's fine. Some of them have the look of, well, that's great. We can ask for more money because there's a complication.
yeah.
Um, let's roll um, your feeling on the group as a whole,
Sure, yeah.
and then we'll do
How
the.
are we doing as a group? 89.
Um, they seem likable. They seem to have um, found enough in common that they're not that they sort of gelled enough to hang out with each other as opposed to just go to their rooms
Right.
and isolate themselves that way. So you're like, okay, this may work out. This may be the birth of a new adventuring group. Who
Yeah, I
knows?
was about to say I'll just join them and we'll have our big adventure group.
Right. Here's one of the organic moments in Karandrin, right, where you essentially this is why they were hired. I need you to, we're hiring you
Right.
to undo a cult.
Exactly. This is some other role playing group session zero. They're like
Right,
this is
right,
what we're going to do in this situation.
exactly. And then they stick together because they did gel, right? We rolled that
Yeah,
89, and so I think I told you the story of my two brothers playing, and this is sort of going back to that robotic play, where so they were hired for a job. This is the first time they played. They're hired for this job to go explore this
yeah, this is
tower that had sunken, right?
yeah,
And they found this guy just bought this wealthy guy bought this new section of property, and he's like, I just need to make sure there's not a thief hideout in that tower or animals or unnatural creatures that are using it as a den. I need you to just go clear it out.
mhm,
And so they got the job, and my younger brother turned, didn't say a word to his teammate, walked out, and took the road. My older brother was like, okay. And so he left, and they just split up entirely, didn't communicate. Thomas, the younger brother, he
they
met,
never saw each other again.
they never saw each other again. Thomas's character got killed
Ah.
encountering a threat that was too much for him
Yeah,
because he was by himself, and that was it. So Andrew's character never saw him again. And I'm like, okay, I
well,
guess
that's what
we don't know
happens.
what it means to be a team. I don't know what to say about that, but so so everybody's on board.
Good. Okay.
You're gauging the group's reaction to like, oh, this person's in danger,
Mm.
because you kind of want to see like, do they have any compassion? Do they have any fear?
Right. Moral. Yeah.
Let's see. Um, um, Interesting. Roll for me.
1.
Um, Roll again and subtract it.
Minus 38.
Okay. So they are. So I mean, they're definitely on board. They're definitely worried about
Okay.
the person, you know.
Right.
Um,
Lives are
and
at stake here. Yeah.
so, tasks are handed out. You give a description of the female guard.
Mhm.
Um, so
Okay.
the Interesting. I'm gonna see who should do what, but that's all right. They'll split it up among themselves.
Sort that out. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. The So yeah, so the female orc and the female goblin, they volunteer to go and catch the guard returning.
Okay.
They'll just take turns. The female orc does say that her arts may be able to locate the guard even before she comes to work, and so she will give that a try. Um, the female goblin, you know, um, she's gonna try to dress in civilian clothes and um, just be inconspicuous, look like a townsperson.
Right.
Um, I was looking for their level. The two orc females, by the way, they're when they in our introductions where you learn that they're actually sisters.
Okay.
Um, and Yeah, so those two leave. Um, the others, stay to discuss the plan.
Must be nice to have siblings who support your adventuring endeavors, unlike Breeze.
I know. So yeah,
Yeah. So we
um,
sort everything out, get all logistic.
everything is sorted out. Hopefully, you guys will have word by morning that they caught the guard before she went to work,
Right.
and Gabrus goes and gets a room.
Yeah.
Um,
So hopefully no one. Oh, because we teleported, right? So no one knows we're at the
right.
adventuring guild. Excellent. Okay. So then I'll have a room too, and
Yep,
so
the room's
I need,
available.
I need to write down that first thing tomorrow morning. I'll go back to the keep to then get the second robe made
Right,
for the female dwarf.
right.
Okay.
Um,
Note for that.
so all right, well, so there you go. People, go to bed. Let's assume that Gabrus, before the pair leave, Gabrus gives his room number to them so they can find him, um, and he can coordinate all this. And at least his poor horse is being taken care of. Um, so, all right. Well, I think we're going to call it there.
Yeah, I think so. Good.
Well,
Good. A lot of planning, a little bit of complications, but I think
some
next session we'll be able to
execute.
action. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so long as the sessions have tension, that's the best thing about them. You know what I mean?
Pretty tense. I hope our audience was too. So.
Yeah, it was. It's a lot of fun. So guys, we thank you again for toughing it out through another episode of Karandrin role playing. If you think we've done a good job, hey, or even not, if you hate us, please send us money on donorbox.org.
We'll do
Um,
better.
Yeah, we'll do better. So so hop over there and take a look. If you want to see more of Max, and I urge you to do so, you can go to his own YouTube channel where he discusses the role of music and original soundtracks in video games. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunafitz for terrific character art for Brise that we use every episode. If you like their work, you can go and see more of it at artstation.com/Tortolua. And if you like my voice, I don't know, you don't get any of my writing in here, but if you want to see some of my writing, then you can go to our website, Karandrin.com, and read some articles. But you can also buy a novel that I put out through Amazon called A Shore Too Far. I'm pretty proud of it. I hope you enjoy it. So, with all that said and done, I we will post our schedule for the next several weeks up here soon, and we thank you for everything. Max, why don't you say goodbye to the lovely people?
Thanks for sticking with us. Hope you enjoyed the session, and we'll see you next week.
That's right. Thank you for everything, guys.